Hey guys, welcome back. Cheers from a very cold, very wintry New York. I happen to love the cold weather, but this is chilly even for me. I was out and about and with gloves on, my fingers still hurt, my ears hurt, but I'll tell you, the Big Apple has such an incredible energy, and I'm very glad to be here for about 6 weeks. I've got some interesting things going on. Uh, and I'm happy to deal with the cold weather. I came home, made myself a nice hot chocolate, and now I'm going to get to talk to you guys about some interesting things. So it turned out to be a great night, and I hope each and every one of you is having a fantastic night as well. So I have an email from Antonio, who I've conversed with a little bit through email. He seems like a very nice guy, and he says, "Hello, Mark Dillon, or Patatina, as the beautiful Francesco D'Amacho called you. I've just recently discovered your YouTube channel and blog. I love them both, so I wanted to participate here. I've seen many videos where you talk about coming out, and I appreciate how understanding you are of those like me who are still at 32 years old, closeted. I'm out to my mom, my sister, and my best friend, but in my case, the apprehension is with the men in my family. I'm Latin American. I don't live in the country anymore. I live with my partner abroad. It should make coming out easier, right? Well, it doesn't. I still feel like a 13-year-old kid inside when it comes to telling my family the truth about my sexuality. There's another problem. I've recently been diagnosed with HIV. Only my partner knows. He's negative. So it feels like a lot to confess. Uh, it freaks me out to even think of telling the HIV part to anyone. So my question is, should I tell both things or keep the HIV story private? Also, if I do, should I tell both things at the same time? Uh, I appreciate any answer. All right, Antonio. Well, first of all, I can certainly sympathize with you about the being closeted part. I was closeted for a long time and very uncomfortable with my sexuality, and I was very nervous about what people would think of me. I wasn't even sure what to think of myself. But nonetheless, here I am. My face is all over the internet. If that's not proof positive that you can come to terms with your sexuality and have a great outcome, I don't know what else is. So it does show you how quickly things can change. I mean, there was a point where I never thought I would be comfortable, just having people know, and here I am. So the good news is you're out to your mom, you're out to your sister, and I can also sympathize with the fact that you're from a culture where there is a certain kind of image of what a man can be, and I think it's a little bit. It takes a lot of times parents who are a little bit older, a different generation in those cultures. It takes sometimes a little bit of work to get them used to being comfortable with the idea that they have a gay child. In Latin America, in particular, there's a huge religious element to that. I don't know if that plays a part in your particular situation, but it could. So, what would I do if I were in your shoes? There's a couple things. First of all, I don't know that I certainly don't know the men in your family. So, what I would do is I would advise you to talk to your mom and your sister and tell them you're thinking about coming out to maybe your dad, and what do they think the best way to do it is. Now, you live abroad, but if you were to go home for a visit, it's possible that maybe a good idea would be for you and your mom and your dad to sit down over lunch and kind of have your mom slightly bring it up, and then you tell your dad, what it is you want to tell him. You'll have your mom there as a buffer between those apprehensive feelings that you have and whatever emotions your dad may go through when he finds out. Another thing you could do is you could ask your mom how comfortable she is telling your dad and explaining how scared you are to tell him, and then you could maybe call him the next day or something like that. But I certainly think it's a good idea to utilize whatever support system you have around you. In this case, it's your mom and your sister to help to allow them to help you come out, um, provided they're comfortable with it. I don't know. As far as your HIV status, I had a friend, very good friend, about 3 or 4 years ago go through something very similar. He lived in Mississippi. He was closeted. He was dating a guy, but it was a very discreet relationship. And he became HIV positive well in the relationship. And he was absolutely devastated. First of all, in his mind, it kind of validated some of the things that he had always heard growing up about how it was a punishment for being gay. And he was really devastated, and he called me crying, and he said, "I just don't know how I'm going to tell my family." And I really at that time didn't have an answer for him, and I said, I wish I could give you, some advice, but I don't know what to tell you. And he went over to his parents the next day, and he just laid it all out on the table for them, that he was gay, that he'd become HIV positive, and it was very tough to say the least. But they did get over it. They did get over that initial shock, and they became very, very supportive of him very quickly. Not every instance will be like that, but I don't know that he could have gotten through it in that particular situation without having the support system of his parents and immediate family around him. So that was one instance where it worked out well. Now, in your case, do I think you need to tell your family you're HIV positive? Uh, I really don't know that you do, Antonio. Uh, I think the only people you have a real moral obligation to tell your HIV status to are people you plan on having sex with. That way they can make an informed choice about how comfortable they are with that. Other than that, you don't owe it to anyone, family or friends, to tell them anything about your health. That's left to your discretion. You're doing nothing wrong by not telling them. Uh, so that it depends on you. If you think that it will be beneficial to you and you'll have more people to talk to about it, then you should do it. The only other reason I can see to do that is if you think in sometime in the near future you'll be in need of some help or some assistance. You're 32 years old, so I'm sure you're a young, healthy guy. I doubt you're in need of any help in that regard. But if something were to change and you were, for instance, to need to move back home and have them help care for you or something like that, knock on wood, I don't think that's the case at all. But that would be the only other reason that I think that it makes sense to tell them. And the way I kind of analyze things like this, in any regard, not just this, but I always ask myself, what's to be gained by doing this? What's the logic? Why would I do this? Besides the fact that I might feel guilty, like somehow I'm not telling someone something. Uh, if it doesn't affect them, which in this case it doesn't, and there's nothing to be gained from it, and there's some potential downside to it, maybe it makes sense not to tell them. That's something you'll have to kind of reconcile within your thought process and decide the pros and cons. But I can tell you're doing nothing wrong by not telling them. That's up to you. So Antonio, I hope this helps you. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the nice email. And you also remembered that my nickname was Patatina in Barcelona, uh, which actually came from the fact that I had eaten so much patatas bravas in Barcelona that I gained the nickname Patatina, which means little potato. So, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic night or whatever time you happen to watch this. Don't forget to check out markdillon.com. It's still in the final phases of being launched, but you can still see lots of cool things on there. So, cheers, good night, and stay warm wherever you are. Thanks, guys.